Good evening and welcome back to Don't Lift Off. So tonight in the house we have a bit of motor racing royalty. Double touring car champion. What else has he done? World Sports Car Championship. TVR Tuscan Champion. Ace go-karter back in the day. And current driver coach primarily for many of motor racing future stars. Looking to find out a little bit more about Chris Hodgetts, I've known Chris for a long time. Worked with him at Silverstone as when we're instructors and kind of as coaches. Sort of seen him in and around the paddock. Really interesting history. I'm really looking forward to finding out some of the stories, some of his background, find out some of the random stuff that he's been up through. I've just been scouring through about 50, 60 odd photos. I mean, we've got about 2.5 hours of time. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit in half of those stories in 2.5 hours, but we're going to give it our best shot. So anyway, hope you enjoy the conversation, and don't forget, don't lift off. Thanks for coming up, really. It's nice. Mate, it's really weird, actually, because I've got random people calling by. Like, I had Cy Hill here, and we had a chicken Kiev together, which I've got from the local Marks and Spencers. And it's like, I don't know, this is as weird to me as it is to everyone else. Like, we find ourselves in a random room in a basement in Leeds, and it's like, I think last time we actually sat down and spoke was probably when you were in a motorhome. You usually have you still got your motorhome that you?
Yeah. Well, the big one. Are you recording all of this now? Are you on the go or not,
mate? Well, this is I'm recording it, and free to say, fuck shit bollocks. I usually get that one in quite early.
The big motorhome prior to COVID time, around COVID time. For a laugh, I'd had it for about 10 years, and I put it on Facebook Marketplace just for thinking nothing was going to happen. Yeah. And I got inundated. The big one.
Around COVID, motorhomes just went through the roof.
Gray Headley used to call me the Admiral, and he called it the... he got a nickname the big one had. Anyway, the big Winnebago went, and I bought myself a nice Mini Winnie, which actually I was with yesterday at Silverstone, just had it serviced again. Okay. I use that. It's nice to slide out, and it's lovely. Yeah, 24-footer. It's great. I use that all the time.
Do you? Yeah. Just take it to the circuits and... Is that for a race weekend? If it's like a...
Race weekends, yeah. Always, every race weekend.
Yeah.
That's all I use. And because I pull a trailer with buggies and a couple of Kawasaki mules on the back, which pull pit trolleys down to the pits. I've got 3 of those, 3 Kawasaki mules.
Kawasaki mule? What, just a little pit bike type thing, is it?
No,
I don't know
a mule is it's an agricultural vehicle.
Oh, okay.
That is like it's got a tray on the back and 2 in the front. It's 4-wheel drive. You can pull a Porsche through the Brands Tunnel with it easily. That's strong.
Yeah.
That's what they are. Kawasaki mules. They're great. They're fantastic. Yeah.
So that gets you around. So you take your motorhome there, and then it gives you a bit of transport for...
Well, I'm registered as well, but I mean, they're used by the team in my deal with Ed, basically, for pulling pit trolleys up and down, and
Yeah. Perfect. And I heard you briefly mention that Isle of Man, because I want to talk to you about this, because that's your main passion, isn't it? It's like,
absolutely,
wanting to... Yeah. Well, how many times have you been to the Isle of Man?
Well, I don't know now. It's not that many, because I didn't start going to them probably about 10 years ago, I suppose.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been every year since.
Right.
Yeah, always. I will never not go. It's I love it.
I had a look on some of the... It was weird, because I thought, I Google Chris Hodgetts, Isle of Man, and I actually found some random videos, which I'll play in a little bit. And I don't know whether someone stood next to you and got into a conversation.
Of Stefan and me going over the mountain, passing the police car.
Oh, no, I've not got that one.
Seen that one.
Was that on YouTube?
It's a guy called Phil Horton. Phil, I met on Mess. Started to talk to me on Facebook, and that's how I started to first go across the Isle of Man, because he does live stream from a place called Schoolhouse Corner, which is just before you get to Parliament Square in Ramsey.
Okay.
It's
okay.
a really fast left-hander.
Yeah.
And the people there, let's go into the garden, and it is shocking when the bike's coming to you and dropping it into this corner. You think, oh my God! And then you got people. The school, which is Schoolhouse Corner, which is on the outside, has got a lay-by where the buses pull in to drop the kids off.
Yeah.
Well, when Mickey Dunlop comes through, he uses the lay-by and the curb as a berm and drawing it out with laying big black lines. And you think, this, unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's how I started to go to the Isle of Man, to the TT via Phil Horton, and he became a good friend. And I've been going every year since, and he's great. He's a really useful guy. But when Stefan came over the first or second year, he came with us as well. We got in Phil's car, and when they changed the mountain road to one way,
yes,
you can obviously you can
that's on Mad Sunday, right?
No, not Mad Sunday. There's it's 2 weeks basically when it's closed. It's one
Right.
way.
Okay. Yeah.
But prior to the evening's event or whatever might be happening, or 2 days before they close it, so it's one way.
Yeah.
And you can go up just by Ramsey Hairpin, and it's all coned off, and then you let loose basically.
Yeah.
And you can use all of the road.
Go for it.
as fast as you
I've
like.
done it on a bike on Mad Sunday. I went over there in 2000 when I had my
Yeah.
TT 600.
Yeah. So we were in Phil's mother's insignia or something, some old banger, and police car was going along, and we overtook the police car. But there's coaching going on via myself and Stefan. It's really very, very funny to overtake and have the police car away as we get over the mountain mile. It's really quite entertaining.
That's funny.
You need to grab hold of that.
I'll see if I can Google it while you're telling it. So what? So have you sort of loved bikes your whole life then? Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
And you use your bike, your time machine, as you call it, to get to the circuits.
My FJR 1300. Yeah.
Let's see if
That's
I
an
can
old
find
picture.
it actually while we're... Yeah, it is, yeah. I've dug out some proper old stuff here. So what do you reckon would be Chris Hodgetts? Chris... I'll put Steph as well. Chris, Steph, Isle of Man. What is it? What do we call it? Is it like on board or something?
I don't know. Because
Let's just see if I can find
Phil
anything.
Horton posted
Let's
it.
see if we can find anything.
Phil Horton
It might not
posted
be. We've
it,
got a
so-
bit of Guy Martin. We've got
Zinc
Connor
car.
Cummins tumbling down off the mountain.
Yeah. That's horrible.
Chris Kelly. Well, if I find it, I'll do a little bit of an overlay for a bit of a laugh anyway
Okay.
while we're talking
All
about
right.
that. But yeah, no, cool, man. That's yeah. Well, I tell you what, I wanted to ask you about as well as a kind of random starting point. So, once upon a time, I can't remember who when this was, but I was talking. Do you know a fella called Tom Shepherd?
Yeah.
Who GTS Motorsport. So he was my engineer when I did BARC Renault in '98.
Yeah.
And I was talking in the things, and I said, Hodgetts just down there. He said, Milky Bar Kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, do what? Well, he said, well, Milky Bar Kid. I was like, what's that about? And then he said that something about your parents having a milk round. So tell me about that, if you wouldn't mind. Tell me about what's the deal there, Sam?
Okay, well, I was born in 1950, and the war finished 45, World War II. Dad was a tank instructor at Tidworth. There's another story there. Tidworth, which is down by Thruxton.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
right.
okay. And we lived and I was born in the house in a village called Tamington Arden, and on the outskirts on the number 1 blind lane. And when Mum was evidently, she machined pistons for Spitfire engines, for Merlin engines. That's what she was doing in the
No
war.
way.
And Dad was a tank tank instructor. And when war finished and he was demobbed, there was a year, like great-grandfather got a farm at a place called Orson Lanes End, which is on the outskirts of Birmingham, South Birmingham. An old farm which is all dilapidated and finished and gone, some old buildings, but they started to build around that area, private development, and Dad decided he was going to sell bottled milk to the residents, and that's how it started. So they, with a motorbike and sidecar, they started a milk round, and that built up, and whereby they were delivering milk in an area, a very contained area, so it wasn't spread out. And we talk about electric milk, electric vehicles that can go over.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that.
Should we have an EV conversation? No, let's not do that.
Yeah, but that's how it started. So Mum and Dad started a milk round. And Dad did, they worked extremely hard, 364 days a year. They did have Christmas Day off, and that was it, solid all the time.
Yeah.
So my childhood was spent basically being involved. Mum up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and Dad, and it was just 2 or 3 of them working on it solid all the time, non-stop. And then they'd come home 2 o'clock Monday to Thursday, Friday, and then Friday was a long old day because they were getting the money in, and Saturday and Sunday. But their passion was gardening.
Right.
And then the house, they used to have beautiful, at the bungalow that they got, the grounds were absolutely superb with little Doric lobelia. I can go on about it all, actually. It was very, very pretty. So their passion was the milk round and doing gardening. That was Mum and Dad. So I became the Milky Bar Kid as I was growing up. Because I was on the milk round, when I went to school, then school holidays or any time, weekends, I was always on the milk round. I was never doing anything else. I was working on the milk round. So I became the Milky Bar Kid. Yeah. And Tom, their workshops were a place called Earlswood, which is 2 or 3 miles away from where I was in Tamington Arden.
And
then that increases even more then because, and there's a real big turning point in my life here.
Yeah.
In that there was a guy, you got to cast yourself back to, it's before your time, but back to the 60s.
I don't know why that stopped. Sorry, Hodgie. Just hold that thought. This randomly does this every now and then, unusually. Don't worry, we can edit that, don't worry. Yeah, sorry.
Are we functioning?
We are kind of functioning, we'll see. Fucking technology.
Take yourself back to the 60s when 1958, 1960, the Mini became the car.
Yeah.
Okay? Lots of tuning people doing Minis. Ralph Broad, a Broadspeed, down in Smedic. A guy called Jim Whitehouse, Tamington Arden, 2 miles from the house. Richard Longman, yeah. All these people were tuning Minis. There were lots of them, Downton Engineering, loads and loads of them. But Jim Whitehouse had Arden conversions. And he was a Tamington Arden bloke. And he was working at a Nissan Huts, like an old Nissan Huts. And I'm interested in motorbikes, when I was at school.
Right.
I got a Francis Barnett and I used to just go down the fields with it, and if I wanted a bit of welding, do it to it or anything like that, I used to take it to Jim Whitehouse at Arden Conversions, who was doing all these mini engines, to do some work. And he took me under his wing, Jim Whitehouse. He is one of the key elements in my whole life. Mm-hmm. and what he did, we've kind of diversified off here, haven't we? Milk round wise, when I'd finished the milk round, when I grew up a little bit, in the afternoons, when Mum and Dad were doing the gardening, I'd be around Jim Whitehouse's, machining aluminium 8-port heads, which he did his own aluminium 8-port head for the Minis, one of the first ones, and this kind of explodes again. And I was in awe of this guy called Jim Whitehouse. He taught me everything I know on the engineering side and mechanical side, absolutely everything. Not because he wanted to, well, I don't know, he must have wanted to, but he became a bit of a mentor in a way, and this really does explode later on. But that was I don't know how we ended up with that. How we ended up there.
Well, I was asking you about your Milky Bar
Tom
Kid.
Shepard, Milky Bar
Yeah,
Kid.
it was just kind of where
so
that name
that's how
came,
that all started,
came
really.
from.
But when I was 16, at Jim Whitehouse's, I'd go there and work there, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a bloke called Gordon Spice.
I've heard of him.
You will have done, yeah.
Right.
Well, they had years and years, Gordy had years and years ago, a bit like Deming Tweaks, yeah?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
where he was selling all stuff, but doing all tuning parts as well for minis, for bits and pieces, and other, there was a big market for all of that. And Gordy was raced in the British Touring Car Championship, as was then, in a 1,000cc Mini, 997 Mini, that Jim Whitehouse prepared. But alongside him as well, there was another guy called Michael Parks, and he was good, and he was doing special saloons with the Mini. And then there was another guy 2 or 3 years after that called Steve Neal.
Right.
Matt Neal's dad.
Oh, right, okay.
So when I was 16...
Everyone knows everyone, don't
when
they?
I was
How much
16,
history there is.
Jim Whitehouse, I used to go around there and help spanner Steve Neal's Mini.
Right.
And then he'd take me to Silverstone on the Thursday for the Daily Express trophy meeting at Silverstone, let's say. And we'd be testing on the Thursday and race Friday and race Saturday and Sunday. So my initial connection with British touring cars was with that many years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And Jim got to the point where he trusted me so much. I shouldn't say it, this is getting nicked. But when I was...
lift now.
I better say when I was 17. The Arden 8-port heads, as they were known, right? You've got to remember, British Motor Corporation, BMC, were running a full factory team of minis in the British Touring Car Championship, right?
Okay.
There was also Patrick Motors running a full factory team, or sub-factory team, in the British Touring Car Championship. There was 2 guys called John Handley and John Rhodes, who were the factory drivers for BMC. Steve Neal was trying to beat them as a private entry with Jim Whitehouse.
Yeah.
The factory brought out their own 8-port head. You're probably not familiar with what I'm talking about on the cylinder heads, but the 5-port standard mini head is not a very clever design.
Right.
So Jim created an 8-port head, a bit like a Ford 600 Crossflow, where it comes, it's. But they were porous. These first ones he made were porous, so they, keep blowing out gaskets and stuff. But I used to be there machining the damn things again on the miller, so I got to learn to do the miller and all of that. He taught me. And it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning when we were trying to get the flipping car ready or the engine ready, and it'd be ready, and then Jim would say, "Go on, then off you go, then go and run the thing in." And we used to go on the road with it, right?
Yep.
And I think they were actually road registered, but I'm not too sure.
We'll go with that one.
And I used to go.
I think everyone's going to nick you from the 1960s
And I
or
said,
whenever it was, or 70s.
What do you want me to do, Jim? He said, "Well, that's all right, mate. Just take it to 5 and hold it at 5 for about an hour." Right, then the M5, then the M5. Oh, okay, then. Yeah, you jack it up a little bit then, it'll be fine, all right. But by this time, he was starting to puff on his pipe and fall asleep because it was like early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
But this was before the M5 went all the way down. It went to the M50, then down the M50, stop and come back.
Yeah.
And so I did, and this thing was so... It was crazy. But 5,000 RPM in top was like... fast.
Yeah.
Fast, noisy, bouncing around, full on.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do, but you could do it in those days.
Yeah.
You could do it. So that was it, really.
Yeah.
Strange, isn't it?
And I saw...
But Jim, moving on with Jim, right? And I'm going to do this quickly, but... Oh, no, go on. If you get to the two...
No, go on, carry on.
No, because it's jumping this.
Right.
But touring car-wise, okay, Jim Whitehouse, two people in my life have been instrumental in the direction that I've had. Right, one is Jim Whitehouse. And as I grew up... Okay, we'll stick with Jim to start with.
Yeah.
As I grew up, I didn't want to be a milkman. 1976, 77-ish, let's say, and there's another story here with Nigel Mansell and Martin Sisme, which you'll like. There was that period of time. Okay. When you go to the pub, right, what do you have to drink?
Oh, for me, I'm really gay. I have like a Copperberg or something like that, just a cider, a bottle of cider. That's for me. But
when your dad went to the pub, what did he have to drink?
I guess it'd be like a stout or something like that. Back in the day, just to kind of
Pint of bitter or something.
Yeah.
Would you have had a glass of wine?
I don't know.
Let's take it back 50 years. Would he have had a glass of wine?
Okay.
So we're talking milk rounds, right?
Yeah.
And wine.
Yeah.
In 1976. And you're thinking, where the hell's this going?
Yeah.
Right, simple. When the milk round, it was doing all right. Didn't make a lot of money, but it was enough for us to afford to go karting.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
At a national level.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing more. Certainly not motor racing.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
But around that period in time, I could see the writing on the wall because there was a company taking over the quarry at the back of my house in Redditch, and they were building a superstore, and they were going to call it Tesco's.
Right, okay.
And in amongst all their stuff they were going to sell would be...
milk, yeah.
So the writing was on the wall for bottled milk delivery to your door.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I could see that. And I thought, oh, this is dodgy.
Yeah.
This isn't going to last.
Yeah.
And they started to sell wine.
Mm.
And everybody started to drink wine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So quite a big step change in society around the mid-70s to late 70s time. So I decided I needed to sell the milk round.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be.
And your mum and dad weren't involved in it at this point?
1976, mum and dad had retired. They went up to Anglesey. We had a little cottage in Anglesey, and gave me the prior to that, actually a little bit before that. No, 76, and they gave me the milk round.
Right.
And so I decided to sell it, and I sold it to Birmingham Dairies, who were buying the milk from, and I just about wiped my nose. Right.
Yeah.
But with little money that I got, I bought myself a Volkswagen camper, a Volkswagen pickup, orange, coloured, and a Clubman's Malak Mark 17B Didion thing.
Yeah.
And I needed an engine for it.
Right.
Who was the bloke to do the engine? Jim Whitehouse.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
okay.
my mate Jim.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to do full Clubman's Championship. I ran out of money ever so quickly. I went out knocking doors, selling life insurance for Schroeder Life Insurance. That's how I lived.
Right.
And that's how I became pretty damn determined, because I had to be. I couldn't pay any bills.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what happened then was, this is a bit long-winded, all right?
Yeah, yeah.
But what happened then was I had to sell. By now I moved on from the Mallet to a lovely little car that a guy called Stuart Glass had given me, a Griffin's C79, and it called the Pink Panther. You haven't got any pictures, have you?
I don't think I have. No, the earliest one I've got is your... hang on. Yeah,
well, the Pink Panther...
Oh, that might be a bit later, but yeah.
I couldn't find that's 1981.
Yeah, okay.
80, 81.
Yeah.
The Pink Panther was a Clubman's A-Class car again, with Jim's engine in. I used to do selected events with it and used to win.
Right,
with it
okay.
all the time, and it was fantastic. And it was painted pink, Pink Panther, and you got Pink Panther promotions on it. It was different, and it's a fantastic little car, and I want to buy it back because it's been offered to me, and I can't afford it. However, I couldn't sell. I had to sell a car in 1979. I had to sell a car. Got no money, broke, totally broke, and a lovely lady called Val Adaway, another name you won't know, but if you would listen to it, she'll be chuffed I've mentioned her.
Yeah.
She used to do all the admin for racing drivers.
Right.
For even Roland Ratzenberg. She used to do the entries for them and do all of that kind of stuff. Lovely lady, Val and Rob Adaway. And she said to me, Chris, can we have your car? Because we'd love to display it. Oh, I'd won the Ladies British Motor Racing Marshals Award for the season as well. Don't know why.
You'd won.
A nice little trophy.
Okay.
And would I take the car to this new shopping centre because it's been opened, and it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this new shopping centre was a place called Milton Keynes.
Ah.
So I did, and I was there on a Thursday, got a desk similar to this, and it's long corridors, all beautiful brand new shopping centre, fantastic. There's me with my car and a desk and a chair.
Yeah.
And I got my mate to just do some splurge on the races that I've won, and that was it, really. And those people were kind of wandering around. This is a bit long-winded, but it comes back to Jim.
Yeah.
And my career changed. The big point.
Yeah.
People around, milling around, great Thursday. Friday, exactly the same again. No bites on the car. Nobody's really interested. It's a shopping centre.
Yeah.
Then Saturday, and once again, this is something that slightly before your time.
Yeah.
And I can remember the time exactly. It was 10:27, and I got fairy lights and a couple of dummy trees and stuff around. And I've looked down the alley, where, the avenue, whatever you like to call it, with all the shops.
It's two corridors. Was
shops,
it two corridors back then, two glass corridors,
really
basically.
massive,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's a mob, and I can only call it a mob, with screaming kids, mums, dads, everything, running towards me. And I'm thinking, what the hell's happened here? They've all gone, and honestly, they're literally coming.
Yeah.
And they come to me and they stop dead in front, and I'm absolutely surrounded by hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And they're all cheering, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And then there's a tap on my shoulder, and unfortunately we should have done this bit first, but never mind. There's a tap on my shoulder, and a lady said to me, Mr. Hodgetts, 2 minutes, live, Noel, going to interview now, Saturday Swap Shop.
Swap Shop. Oh, now we are talking.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
of course I remember Swap Shop.
And I look round, and there's big white lights on me and everything, and the car, and I feel the heat of these lights behind me, and I turn round, and Noel Ensmans is here, right? And I've fallen apart, haven't I? I've fallen apart. And all the kids, because he was massive. He was massive.
Swap Shop, it was the biggest programme on a Saturday morning, wasn't it? Yeah.
Anyway, I did this interview for him and told him a bit of a life story and what was going on, why I got to sell the car and this, that and the other. And that was about 3 minutes, and boom, that was it. So, and then everyone just disappeared and went.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't sell the car.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, actually, we'll roll into this all right. Mm-hmm. So, I've gone back home. I thought,
I've been on the Swap Shop.
Yeah.
Was that a kids thing for you? Did it mean anything for you back then? Was it just like, oh, it's the kids thing, or was it a thing that you watched as well?
No, it was a kids thing, really.
Right,
yeah. Because I got grown up a bit then.
Yeah, we used to watch it.
I was 26, 27 then.
Yeah, right.
28, yeah. So no. Yeah. So I'm glad you know. But so we'll go back on Sunday, and then Monday go round to Jim because I still owe him some money for the engines and bits and pieces. He looked at me, puffing on his pipe. like he did. His nickname was Brock. And he goes, didn't sell it then? I said, no. It's a shame, isn't it? Yeah, a bit. You better come with me to Silverstone tomorrow, haven't you? I said, why? Well, I'll just make sure you bring your race kit with you. Oh, what? Just bring your kit. Shut up. See you in the morning. I'll pick her up. All right, okay. Now, Jim Whitehouse picking me up is not a good idea.
Right.
Because Jim Whitehouse restored a Ferrari Daytona. Purple it was, right? And this was before the M40 was built, okay?
Right.
No M40.
Yeah.
This is the main road from Tommy-on-Arden through Stratford-upon-Avon, past Jennington Car Club,
Yeah.
circuit, right, to Banbury.
Yeah.
Mate, shit myself. Absolutely shit myself.
It's a good road, that is, if it's the road I'm thinking of.
Jim couldn't drive.
Past Edge Hill
He
and-
was bad, yeah. He was bad. Yeah, up Edge Hill, yeah. Sunrise.
Yeah, that's Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah, that road.
Yeah.
We get there. Now, Tuesday, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Once again, I'm sorry it's a bit long-winded.
This will be the old Grand Prix circuit, so
Proper.
like fast 90 degrees
Proper.
Stowe,
The
90
original,
degrees club.
The original.
Yeah.
So I get there, and there's a coach, which is a transporter, Hughes of Beaconsfield, transporter.
Right. Yeah.
Right, at the back of the pits there. And there's 2 cars in the garage, 2 Toyota Sleekers, all right?
Mm.
And I've turned up, and Jim, because he was doing the engines for these cars,
Okay. Yeah.
he was doing the engines for Hughes of Beaconsfield and Toyota, and I knew of them because I was putting them on the bloody dyno and running the damn things, rebuilding the gearboxes and all, so I was doing all of that.
Was it like the Saloon Car Championship? Because this is what I kind of looked on your
2
Wikipedia
things.
page.
There was a production saloon car championship,
Yeah.
and the British Saloon Car Championship, which was sponsored by Trimoco or Tricentral.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But that was the proper one. In effect, your proper your professional championship.
Yeah.
Production saloons were club racing.
Yeah.
Okay. Group N regulations, not anywhere near what those were. All right? 2 different things. But the official RAC championship was the British Saloon Car Championship. Okay. So, once again, names that you probably won't know. Barry Williams, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wizzo, yeah.
Wizzo.
Yeah.
Yogi Muir, which you probably wouldn't know. Rad Dougal.
No.
Okay.
No.
Tolman Formula 2 driver.
Okay.
Okay. God, there's a few. Win Percy, who was already driving that car in 1979 for Hughes of Beaconsfield, and factory Toyota driver, Win was.
Yeah.
But there's 5 or 6 drivers there, and me. And I was involved because, like, yeah, okay, no, we warm up on those plugs, put the other plugs, put the cold plugs in, ready for them, so I'm doing that. I'm working on the guys doing the engines and this, that, and the other. And they're going around, all these drivers go around, because what's happened is Tom Walkinshaw has pinched Win Percy from Toyota to drive the Mazda RX-7 and become a 2-year deal with Mazda for British Touring Car Championship with the Mazda RX-7. So there was a seat available at Hughes of Beaconsfield.
Right.
So all these drivers were there. And then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jim says, get your kit on then. So
he's still not told you anything about this?
No, we don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
Well, we can do, but we didn't tell me nothing.
Right.
So I'll get my kit on and I'll get in this frigging car, right? Now, I've been racing the Clubman's car, which is as quick as Nelson Piquet's Formula 3 car, right?
Right.
They were rapid.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. That's
Yeah.
why I went that route. Couldn't afford F3, bought myself a Clubman's car because lap times were very, very similar.
Yeah.
And I've come out of flipping 250 supercar, so you wanted something that was like, going to like your belly.
Where was Clubman's? Do you know Sandy Watson? You come across Sandy Watson? Because he was racing Clubman's in the 70s. Well, anyway,
Okay.
so by the way.
So I've gone in this car and it feels like a bloody jelly. It feels awful, this thing. After
Yeah.
a Clubman's car, terrible. 1600cc, gutless, even though we've been doing the engines. And it's pissing down the rain. And I'm going through Chapel, which you know.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through Chapel, I'm kind of looking across and going up towards Abbey is a ball of spray.
Right.
Come round the next lap. Goes out of Chapel. Same place, ball of spray.
Because you could see across at
I
this
could see
point.
right
It's
across.
like looking,
No
it's probably
drama
about
at all.
half a mile away at this point, isn't it? Yeah.
You could see it easy.
Yeah.
And that continued for about 4 laps, and then I come in, because that's what I was told to do, and that was that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I don't know. Right. Next week, Monday, our telephone number is Tamington Arden 461 at the house. The phone rings. Right, I remember it clearly.
Yeah.
Jim, what are you doing tomorrow? Well, don't know really, mate. I'll have a few bits and pieces, a couple of life insurance things I need to do, but you come to Silverstone. All right. So I go to Silverstone. Not in a Ferrari Daytona this time. We go in his road Mini that's like, horrendous. Never mind.
Yeah.
Full blown, full race engine in this Mini.
Right.
Anyway, we get to Silverstone successfully, thank God. And it's the same again. And it's pissing down rain again.
Right.
And there's Yogi Moore, Barry Williams, the other one who really got the arse with me, right? Jerry Marshall.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he really thought he was going to be the boy.
Right.
You know, he thought he got this sorted.
Yeah.
Because he'd been with Vauxhall before, you know, with all the cars. Anyway. So, Jerry didn't like me. Well, at that time, he didn't even know who I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But never mind. Things did improve. But Jerry was there. I think Barry was there. Win again, Percy. And one other. Anyway, I had another run, but this in this other car, which it wasn't the number one car, it was like the other car. That's, you know, it was a second car, should we say? But then we'd try bits on, and then we'd put them onto the new one, onto the other one. And I went out in this thing again. Once again, I got in the car earlier this time because there was less people there. And I was coming through the chicane. I thought, is that right? And there's something wrong on the left front. And I did another couple of laps. And anyway, I come in and let's say they give me a 10, 12 lap run or something like that. And I curtailed it after about 7 laps coming. And I said to a bloke called Gordon Myers, who was the team manager at Hughes of Beaconsfield, I said, Gordon, ain't something wrong with the front. He said, what do you mean? I said, mate, the front damper, it's wrong. There's something, it's not the same left to right. And when I turn into it, it's not. All right then, okay, and that was it. Go home. Following week, repeat. Okay? Phone goes. IG, yeah, you come to Silverstone with me. Don't forget your kit. Okay, Brock. Don't call me Brock, my name's Jim. Okay, Jim. What we going in? Norman's taken us, Norman Burgess, who was, not Norman Burgess, Norman, can't remember his name. He was Jim's right-hand man. In fact, he was Norman Burgess, but not the same Norman Burgess that we know.
Right.
But anyway, Norm took it, he was sensible. And we got there. And I don't know, there was something going on. I could just tell there was something weird going on here. And I get to the circuit, and I pull in, round the back, in we go again. There's the coach again. 2 cars in the garage, exactly the same. And I go up into the coach. Where's everybody else? And Gordon looks at me and says, okay. Off you go. So I go to get in the spare car. Now that one. Ooh, great. So I get in that one. Go and do about 6 laps. Night and day, you know. This is the one that Wynne had been racing.
Right.
He won the championship in this car. We won the class in the championship.
Yeah.
And so, good. And Jim had done some 48 Del Autos. Got long story short, we'd done some work on the engine, and it was good. And then we changed some other stuff, and it was better. And I came in, and went back up into the coach. Sat in the front of the coach, which was like, you know, and the car just getting the back. And then I could hear to the left-hand side this helicopter coming in, yeah. Now, Noel Edmonds used to fly helicopters.
Yes, yeah, it was on the Late Late Show, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, that was the, yeah.
Right. So, I can hear this helicopter coming in, but it ain't no normal helicopter, this, mate. It's a Hughes 500, ex-military, proper job.
Right.
And it's coming in, and it lands actually in the paddock at the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And this really immaculate gentleman gets out of this. He's flying it, obviously, and shuts it down, walks across, and I'm sat in the coach like I'm sat opposite you, just chatting over the desk. And he came up the steps. And he walked straight past me and went round the back of me. Once again, the tap on the shoulder. Can I call you Chris? You've been driving my car, haven't you? You help Jim with the engines, don't you? Yeah. In front of me, contract. And I've gone, what? And Jim sat opposite me, puffing on his pipe. He said, fucking sign it. Wow. Fucking sign it. Really? Do it. I couldn't believe it. Right. Now,
Who was this gentleman? Who was he?
The gentleman was Mr. Michael Hughes, who owns Hughes of Beaconsfield. It was his race team.
Right.
I've never ever met him.
Right.
And he's in Hughes, the name, 500D, involved with
Hughes helicopters.
Right, as well.
Right,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
But, here we go, right. The connection. Jim, me doing the engines, Jim having a load of faith in what I could do, getting me to test the car over a 3-week period, or making sure that they'd let me have a go,
Yeah.
so I could prove myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know any of this. Jim was
Yeah.
doing all this.
Yeah.
It was Jim. Now, I was just a milkman from doing clubman's racing.
Yeah.
It was nobody compared to these Barry Williams and Jerry Marshall, all these superstars.
Yeah,
I was nobody.
Yeah.
But Jim, and then the contract was there, and I said, Christopher, this is Mike Hughes, I'd like you to drive for me, for our team in the British Touring Car Championship in 1980. Here's the contract. You have 5 minutes to look at it. Should you wish to sign it, please do so as soon as you can. And Jim is telling me this. So I've gone, right, okay. And before I've signed it, Mike Hughes has gone to me and said, I've got 2 daughters. Okay, we were watching the television the other Saturday morning it was, and we saw you at Milton Keynes. And I fly helicopters from Booker Airfield, and Noel Edmonds is a very good friend of mine. Mm. What? So I'm thinking, oh Christ. He said, we're really impressed with your story of what you've done, with the clubman's car, and you haven't been able to sell it. Jim Whitehouse has extolled, everything about you, and we want to give you a chance. So we'd love you to be our driver for the British Touring Car Championship. So that's how the connection was with Jim Whitehouse.
Yeah.
Changing my life.
Yeah.
Which he did, right? And the connection was that, and that's me. The second year, that is, I think, in 1981. So I did 2 years, 80 and 81. So that's the connection with that.
Toyota.
That's with Toyota, but it was... They farmed it out. The Toyota GB farmed it out to Hughes and Beaconsfield, who are a main Toyota dealer.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me 2 things from that test. Tell me about the ball of spray. Who was the ball of spray on the other side that's going to Abbey?
The ball of spray was Wim Percy in the other car.
And you were holding...
I was matching him
matching
in the old dog.
Yeah, okay.
And he was in the prime car.
Right, okay.
And he was pitching out of rain. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And the damper, me stopping... On the second run out,
yeah.
I'm stopping after 7 laps. When I told them that the front dampers were knackered,
right,
it was.
Right.
And they took all this on board and everything.
Right, and so they realised that you
yeah,
knew, clued up, or were
yeah,
in tune with the car, you
yeah,
could give them good feedback. Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
That's how it all started, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to continue this one just a little bit more, that car there, you've got to remember there was a class structure. All right, British Touring Cars, 1980.
Okay.
Up to wherever it might have been, or it might have been, it was up to 3.5 litre, let's say. They had 3.5 litre V8 Rovers, didn't they? There was Class A, which was 2.5 litre upwards. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Class B, which was 1600 to 2.5 litre,
Okay.
up to 2.5 litre.
Yeah.
Then up to 1600,
Yeah. Yeah.
mate. And then up to 1300, which was people like Alan Curnow and,
Like things like Metros and stuff like that.
Fiestas and Metros, yeah. But we all ran together, obviously. Well, no, we didn't actually. Mallory Park, they did split it. It was up to, there was a separate race for the Class A and B and a separate race for Class C and D. But we at the time, I was running against, with that one, 1881, Richard Lloyd, Sterling Moss, Tony Lanfranchi.
Sterling
in the
Moss,
factory Audi.
doing touring cars.
He was touring cars.
Yeah.
And I was a singleton in that, yeah. A new kid on the block.
Yeah, yeah.
But Silverstone, first round, it was wet. And of course, with a little 1600, I could really mix it up.
Yeah.
And on the first couple of laps, I was up with Gordy Spice in a 3 litre Capri, and I was around about P6 overall, and in front of a load of 2.5 litre cars and everything else. Because the thing flew, it was great. And at the end of the race, in Screwted area, Gordon Spice came up to me and he said, "You're Hodgetts, aren't you?" "Yeah." "Just be careful and watch your step." That's what he said to me, right? 10 years later, I've done Le Mans, 88, 99, 1990. I'm in the BIDC. And Gordon Spice comes up to me and he said, "Christopher, I want you in my car at Le Mans, please."
Mega.
Completely different 10 years turnaround.
Yeah, well, you've earned his
and
respect.
That was it, yeah. So that was it. There you go.
That's amazing. I love that. I
Funny
love that.
story.
Like but like 3 days of testing, you don't know what the hell it's about.
No, absolutely. It was lovely. Yeah.
Well, let's go through.
Okay.
So I dug out some of these photos, some of random. Give us some idea what the hell this was about. So when did the Escort come in then? Was that after the Toyota? Because
yes.
Let me just flick through these quickly, and
Okay,
you
right.
and then you kind
Okay.
of give me context because I'll
Right,
probably
you do-
not
you're
put them in
doing-
the right
you're doing
order.
all right. You're doing okay.
But go back to tell me about
Okay,
this
right,
one. This is a
okay.
random
So
thing. Tell me Noel Edmonds was involved in this, please. Is that Keith Harrison Orville? What the hell is going on here?
That's actually John Morris. I did 2 years with Toyota in 1981. 82 I had nothing, all right, because Wynn went back to Toyota.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't drop me, but they had Wynn back on. But Wynn had got a dealership down in the Oval Way as well, so he was connected with Toyota as well. And I wasn't, I was a Milkman.
Yeah.
And I went off racing back to Clubman's cars, preparing Clubman's cars for a guy called John Britton.
John Britton. Oh.
Different John Britton.
Oh, okay.
This was Cleft-Bridge Metallising Limited in Ledbury, operating fairly close to where Stoddart had his Minardi F1 team later on.
Right, okay.
So that's Ledbury. And also Chris Smith, who plays drums, he's great, but that's another story as well, with Stephen with Formula Ford. So there was a hole in 82. Then in 83, a guy called John Griffiths, who was at Ford Motor Company, at the competition department, phoned me up and said, "Chris, your Ford dealership in Redditch, they want to be RS dealers, okay?
Yeah,
RS dealership.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
if you're an RS dealer.
Yeah.
And they just started doing the RS Ford thing.
Yeah.
We will give you the equipment, Ford Motor Company. You can choose your own engine builder, but we will give the shells, components, hardware, and all of that stuff. But you need somebody to run the car. You'll have to find that yourself and
Yeah.
do that. So I approached Brooklyn, Redditch, who wanted to be RS dealers.
Right.
And the only way they could do it was if they went racing or rallying.
Right.
And that's how I sold the deal to them.
Ah.
So that's how we started.
So Brooklyn was the
in 83.
dealership then,
Brooklyn, big Ford dealership, massive, right in Redditch.
Right. Okay.
And Mike Hill and the Hill family, lovely, lovely people. More rallying orientated than motor racing, but they did it, bit the bullet, and off we go.
You're right.
So that was the start of that.
Right,
That
so
is
that's a
the
promo shot for
That's
it.
the second year.
Right.
Which is, that guy on the right is John Morris, whose son now runs the fire extinguisher company. What's the latest fire? I don't know, but
Yeah.
top bloke.
Right.
And it was a 2-car team eventually. Now that one is not my car.
Right. Okay. It's
That's
the same livery though, is it?
absolutely identical. That and that's up to date. That's really up to date.
Right.
Because to what's going on now. That car was built and is owned by a guy called Steve Yates.
Right.
He got me to drive it at that demo at Brands Hatch, which was lovely. And Steve now drives the trucks for Eddie Ives at Elite Motorsport. He's a truckie
wow.
with us now.
Wow.
He's a drill. So there's a bit of a go around there as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Right, that is... Okay, so we did 3 years with Brooklyn.
Right.
Finished runner-up and won the class in 85.
Yeah.
Had a great, really, really good run. Lovely, lovely people. But at the last round, sat in my caravan, a guy called David Ewells came up to me, knocked on the door and said, Chris, we can do this for you. We want you to run a Corolla. We want you to start your own team and run a Corolla, one of these, Group A Corolla, in the British Touring Car Championship.
Right.
Now, Jim Whitehouse was doing the engines for the Ford for me,
Right.
okay? But he was also doing the engines for... Can't remember. Anyway, I was doing the engines for Toyota with Per Eklund in 1985, before this year. So, and I was familiar with the engines because I was still going to gyms, like I was still, all the time. Putting these engines on and off the flipping and thinking, guys, this is rather stronger than me Ford, than me RS600i, just going to get spanked. Anyway, and I can tell you the exact figures. If you want figures,
Wow.
if you want figures.
Wow. What, a couple of hundred horsepower, something like that?
No,
maybe?
I'm talking pounds.
Oh,
figures.
right, yeah. Give us an idea.
This is
What was the
really
budget for?
This is really embarrassing.
Go on.
All right. They gave me, and I can tell you exactly the deal. They gave me hardware, which included
What are you doing? Trouble.
probably 3 engines, all right, and gearboxes and diffs, and the shells and everything else. I had to get somebody to prepare the car.
Right.
I had to start my own team, which I did, and I used David Lampett, who'd been doing the diffs and gearboxes and chassis for me for the RS600i.
So is that on the front? Is that CHMS? Is that
That's
Chris
it, Chris
Hodgetts
Hodgetts
Motorsport?
Motorsport. That's my
So
own
you ran
team.
it from there?
Yeah,
right,
there's
on the
another
front grill
story there
yeah.
as well, big story.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so that was that, and we ran out of workshops in Pinville.
I was a Chris Hodgetts driver for a short period of time, wasn't I?
Okay.
Back in the day.
So that was that, and basically we annihilated everything. I won every race, set fastest lap on every race, and pole for every race, apart from one, which was at Brands Hatch when we had a failure, day failure or something happened, and a little Peugeot was on pole. But we annihilated everybody with that. And, it was just fantastic.
Whereabouts is that? That looks like Thruxton or something like that, is it? Or
Silverstone chicane, maybe.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm just looking at the bridge in the
Okay.
background there, yeah.
But they gave me 35 grand. I'm going to touch some figures now.
Right.
They gave me 35 grand to run my team. Now, this is 1986.
Yeah.
35 grand.
Yeah.
Nowhere near enough, right? but I had all my stuff and everything. I'd employed people as well, but there was probably about 4 or 5 of us on it total. Yeah. And we won everything. And at the end of the year, I had to put the car up for sale because I was going to go tits up otherwise.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it. And a guy called Andrew Bagnall from New Zealand, who had a company called Gulliver's Travels in New Zealand, the biggest independent travel company down south.
Right.
He bought the car and wanted me to do Bathurst with him, with it, and Wellington Street Race, New Zealand, which we did. And he wanted me to do the 1987 World Touring Car Championship and European Touring Car Championship, which were 500-kilometre races, 2-driver races.
Right.
So we then built another car for Alan Minshaw, a red one with Demon Tweaks on, and Alan couldn't get on with that.
Now, I think I found a shot of that somewhere. Let's just fast forward. I'm sure there is. I'm going through a life's history of stuff.
Oh,
Is that?
No, that's a Rover Turbo.
Right, okay, sorry. I knew. Remember, I saw. Was this an M3? Was this the Demon Tweaks M3?
No. There's that one as well. I've done a lot.
Back to where we were.
There's been a fair few. But if you won't. Yeah, so we built, Middlehurst has gone in there.
Right.
Andy Middlehurst. But built another car. I think I built 4 total of those Group A, those.
Right.
And did the whole lot, everything. So run my own team, everything, the whole thing.
Where did you run
for the
from?
second year,
where
from
were you based?
Pinvin, which is Pershore, all right, in my workshops, which I rented space off Dave Lampett in his workshops, basically, to run it.
Right.
The second year in 87, won the championship again, and they put Barry Sheen into the car as a PR thing with Toyota, but that's a lovely story as well. That is with Barry, with bikes again.
Remember you telling me one of those stories.
But they gave me, they doubled the budget. They gave me 70 grand. All right, okay. So we just about broke even, but we were doing Europe as well. So, and we made a bit with the Bagnall thing and everything else. So, yeah. So that was the Corolla days. Yeah, superb. Absolutely fantastic.
So you won that. So it's the British Touring Car Championship. That was '86. You won it.
I won it outright.
Outright in '86 and '87.
So I became back-to-back British Touring Car
Champion. Right.
If we move it on 20 years, operating out of the same workshop, literally the same workshops.
Right.
Was Team Dynamics.
Okay.
Steve Neal.
Yeah.
And Matt Neal.
Yeah.
And Matt Neal, 19 years after I did it, became a back-to-back British Touring Car Champion.
In the same
out
workshops.
of the same premises.
No way.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Good God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, that's amazing history. That's the car up to date. I'm guessing, is that the same sort of year? I'm trying to think of what that is.
Just go back a bit. Just go back. Right, you see that thing?
Yeah.
So I finished with Corolla in 87 because it was no longer viable from Toyota GB because they were going to move on to the top class, running against the RS 500s, right?
Yeah.
With a Toyota Supra Turbo.
Okay, yeah.
It was number 1 on the car because I'd won the British Touring Car Championship the year before.
Yes, okay.
So they employed me to drive the car.
Right.
But Dave Lampett and a guy called Alex Moss took over the running and financials of the whole thing and built the car.
Right, okay.
But that created issues because Ford had come out with the RS 500.
Yeah.
And that car there, even though it was a straight 6, 3-litre turbo, you thought, okay, this is going to be the business. It was awful.
Right.
It was heavy. Under-homologated. They hadn't really done the work on it to what Ford had done.
Yeah.
And I persevered as much as I possibly could with it. That was on a contract with Toyota. There's another big jump in my life here.
Yeah.
So 1988, I'm running that. And we get to around about May, June time. And I'm at Alton Park. and I've qualified, I don't know, probably about 7th or something like that with that.
Yeah.
Done the best we possibly could with it, and kept overheating, and it totally terrible car.
Is that
That's
anything to do with that story there? Or is that
here we
different
go.
car?
Right, stop.
Right.
This is Alton Park.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So what has happened now is I've got to the grid, gone to go for the green flag lap, dumped the clutch, and it's broken.
Yeah.
I've got out. I've got off the car, thrown the straps up, right? Got out the car, dumped it, and walked. Got in my car and come home.
Right.
Not a word to anybody.
Yeah.
Because in the background, before I'd signed for Toyota, Mike Hill, go through a bit.
Forward.
But yeah, that woo.
Right.
Mike Hill at Brooklyn were quietly building that.
Right.
And I knew, and they wanted me.
Right.
So when the Toyota broke, I'd already got that in the pipeline. It was there waiting for me.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a little video that I'd like to that I found out, and you can tell me about what context is. I might be putting this out of context. Hang on a second. Bear with.
Oh,
It's not that one. It's that one. This might be around this sort of time, but.
Take pick this Sierra, and there's a resigned-looking Chris Hodgetts who could have won here, just as he could have won at Silverstone. And it's obviously an engine problem that's taken the ever-cheerful Chris out.
The car was understeering very badly, and a lot of cars came past, and what has happened is the hose has gone, and it was just putting water onto the left front tyre, so terminal understeer plus overheating, so live to fight another day.
So I don't know whether that's in context or not, but I quite like that nice bit of footage there.
Have you seen the interview after Mike Smith, the DJ, hit me at Snetterton in the Demon Tweaks M3 you were talking about?
I have seen this, although I haven't. I have seen this before.
Did you really?
It's the sort of thing that I'll Google just because it's good entertainment to see Smitty and what he's got up to. Yeah, funny. Was that the previous year? But was that something? Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I just thought it was quite good.
So basically, but what I did then was, by walking away from the Toyota contract, even though that was very, very good, that was a mistake. It's something that I should not have done.
Right.
Okay, in retrospect.
Yeah.
It was bad form to walk away from that. Various people, actually, you're going to have a ball with this in a couple of weeks' time, because various people drove that car, all right?
Yeah.
Paul Taft didn't get his arse in it, but he did drive the RS600i in '86 against me in the Corolla.
Right. Okay.
Mark Hales drove that.
Right.
No, not that, the Toyota. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
After I'd gone.
Yeah.
Because they all thought, we're in here, you know. And I knew it was a dog.
Yeah.
And then another bloke called Ian Flux drove it.
Ah, right.
Flux it, and he'll tell you.
Right, okay,
He'll tell you the story.
Right.
But of course, then, 2 years after that, if I'd have been on a Toyota contract, Frank Bialy with Audi was on 400 grand.
Right. Okay.
I jumped out of it too.
But you'd have seen that, like, the writings on the wall in terms of performance of the car. You're a competitive person. Yeah. I completely
and of course,
get that.
what happens then is I do the. There's a story why that car couldn't quite match the Rouse cars and the Eggenberger cars, because it's lovely, nice pick, that one. Mm-hmm. See the one on the right-hand side, the Fina car?
Yeah.
Lovely story with that one as well.
Yeah.
I drove that, I raced that, finished fourth at Silverstone in 1989 at the end of the year. Gerrit van Cowen's car, that was Gerrit who passed away.
I think I might have a picture of that, a further picture of that somewhere along here. Oh, okay. God, it's going through a whole... Is that it there?
No. It's
okay, let's go back.
All right,
yeah.
So... I lost track of
why you said why it wasn't competitive? You said it wasn't quite...
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Got the engine management systems on them. The Eggenberger cars, Rudy's cars, were the Texaco ones, which Rouse and Klaus Niedwich and Armin Hahn and proper cars. They were on what's called a Bosch 1.7 ignition system or electronic system.
Yeah.
That was the same as fitted to the Porsche 962.
Okay.
Lot of money. Brooklyn couldn't afford that one, so they only had the 1.2 version. So we were limited on a certain amount of performance and boost compared to what the factory Ford teams could run, which were Rouse and Eggenberger. They were the factory teams.
Right.
Fact. Yeah. Yeah. So, but it was still a fantastic car. Built by Dennis Osborne, and Lampett did the cage and other bits in it. Stunning car. That car is now owned by a guy called Craig Davis, who is Mr. Sub-Zero Kitchens and what's his? And Tim Harvey's car, which was a very, very similar spec, one of the Labatt's cars that was run by Rouse, that sold yesterday at Stoneleigh for £305,000.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That was up at 300, mine was.
Proper bits of kit.
Yeah.
And I saw, that's the same car then
Yeah,
again.
that's Craig.
Yeah.
It's Craig Davis's coach in the background. That's the Silverstone, classic meeting in August. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
Right.
That's in Japan.
Ah, right. Okay, so we're on to Japan now. This might jump about. You have to forgive me if
right.
I've put this in the right place. Tell me about Japan. How did that all come about, and who were you hanging around with? And I'm leading it to because I kind of know a little bit, but
Okay, well, touring cars I've been doing for about 10 years-ish. Wasn't getting stale, but I was thinking I want to do something international, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
But in 1988, Tim Harvey, who was racing against me, in touring cars with the Istel Rover, one of those. Well, we were in the same race, but he was in the higher class and I was in the lower classes.
Mm-hmm.
Approached me in the paddock, and there was a company called Istel, who were based in Redditch. They were a telecommunication cabling company. He got them as a sponsor, and a guy called Chris Childs was involved with them and got control of the advertising budget. So him and Tim Harvey, they were doing British touring. He was doing British touring cars with Istel backing, but he also wanted to do a new championship in the UK, which was the British C2 Group C Championship.
yeah.
With a little Tiga with a 6R4 motor in the back of it, which was in effect the rally engine but converted to race use.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a fuel formula. So we were running against other cars with DFVs and stuff like that. And he and I had a bloody good year, and we won the championship with this little Tiga. But we also wanted to do Le Mans.
Right, okay.
So he asked me would I do Le Mans, and there's a long story there, but I do. It's worth going into in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, do I like Marmite Tim Harvey? But I did get on with it and respected his business dealings were incredible when he was doing, really good. But I think he also respected me, and we talk about when we bump into each other, we have a chat about all of this. Because he entrusted me testing or whatever with this Group C car if he wasn't available and stuff like that. Anyway, we won the championship, and but we went to Le Mans, but with a different car. Oh, the British one, the little Tiga with the Metro engine, 6R4 engine in it, was run by a guy called John McNeil.
I might have a picture of that somewhere. I don't know. Let me flip through these, and please forgive me if these aren't in the right order. Tell me, shout me if you see it.
That is.
Is that the one? Is that the one? This really grainy photo. I'm sure I can get a better one than that.
That's a fantastic car. But just go back a bit.
That one.
Crikey. That's Daytona.
I've just dragged
Jesus.
some stuff of what I could find. Sorry.
Come back.
Right.
There's it.
That one.
Right, okay. That is the sister car to the one we raced in England.
Right.
But that is a Tiga, but with a Porsche 956 engine in the back of it.
Right.
Which was restricted to running C2 at Le Mans.
Okay.
Okay. And Tim Harvey asked me if we could do that if I'd do Le Mans.
Okay.
And I go,
Yeah.
you know, you showed me that shot of the car going down the straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can put
Do
that
you
on.
want,
I've
do
got
you
it
want
on
me
here.
to continue on this before I roll
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
next
yeah.
one?
Do that.
Because
Kind of, we're doing a chronological order because I want to know a little bit
Okay.
about Japan. Who you
Okay,
hang
did
around
this
with?
lead?
Kind
This
of
is how
Japanese
Japan
life.
came about.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I go to Le Mans in my motorhome, and I've got a little Yamaha YZ80 on the back of a little trial bike. Right. And I'm going to Le Mans. Fantastic. So I get my little motor, and like we're in the lads have taken, McNeil's taken the car to the scrutineering, which is in Town Square, and we've got a sign on, all documentation, this and the other. Okay, right. And I'm doing Le Mans with Tim Harvey, myself, and a guy called John Sheldon, Driller, his nickname.
Yeah.
Harley Street dentist, right? But also raced regularly at Le Mans.
Right, yeah. I've heard of
Raced
his
regularly
name
at John
before. Yeah,
Sheldon.
yeah.
Okay, top bloke. Why are we doing it with him? Because he's experienced and he knows the crack, he knows what we need to do.
Yeah.
But he's had some massive ones, all right?
Right.
Through no fault of his own. And he's still here. So we go and sign on, and you have to kind of go into this, and we're all signing on. And like, I've gone in, and Sheldon's not there, John's not there. And then he arrives, and it's a hot day, yeah. And there's this bloke turns up in a string vest, right, and a pair of white shorts and sandals. And he's covered in scars, right. Hello, I'm John. Hello. And look at him, his facial was all right, but like, Christ, the rest of his body scars. Mm. And he had the most massive shunty, an Aston coming out of an arch, I think, and it caught fire, and he's had some big ones, John.
Right.
Lovely bloke, though, and survived. So I'm doing it with a very experienced guy. Tim and I are both greenies. We haven't done it because we're bouncing off each other. Oh, well, you know, listen to John, what he's going to do. It's fine, everything's good. So off we go, and I put John in the car for the first practice Wednesday afternoon, and it goes out and it does a piston after about 2 laps, so it's fogged. Okay. Change engine, what they're going to do, I don't know, or whatever goes on. Anyway, I don't get in the car on the Wednesday at all. So in the night time, bored, jump on my little YZ80, whatever it was, go off into the forest. And I think I'll go halfway down the Mulsanne, because halfway down the Mulsanne, because I'm friends with all the British Marshals, there's a British Marshals post halfway down, just past the calf.
Yeah.
And they have one of these big cylinder drums, and they light a fire and do a barbie on it. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of them, and I've known them all from, because I've been doing touring cars, and we'll go, yeah, we're doing Le Mans, and they all go to Le Mans. So I was going to go and find them in the dark with my torch on the front of my little Yamaha. And so I go off, and I'm wandering. I think, where the bloody hell is this pitch black? And I can hear cars and this, that, and the other. And then I find out where, and I can see this glow in front of me, which is their bonfire, right, going on, and just about to see a bit of Armco. All right, Chris, I get there. Nothing, silent, nothing going on. What? Yeah, I'm just trying. What's happened? Oh, it's done a piston. So, oh, right, okay. So I thought I'd just come out and have a look. Right. Quiet. Then all of a sudden, I can hear. What the fuck was that? And I've gone, seriously. Now I've gone, no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. It scared you, did it? It's
Well,
like
no,
that's...
I was not doing it.
Yeah.
That was it. It frightened the fuck out of me. I thought, because the Armco was only two layers, it was nothing.
Yeah.
And like, this missile had just gone flying, and it was so instant and fast and frightening.
Yeah.
And it felt it as well.
A bit like sitting next to a TT now.
So I went back to the paddock, and they were working on the car, and I said to John McNeil, John, I'm not doing it. said, what do you mean? I said, I can't do it, mate. That's it. And like Tim looked at me, he said, really? Yeah, mate, I'm not, you have to get somebody else, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
Frightened the fuck out of me.
Right.
So I went back and I rung the missus and said I'm coming home. And it was a telephone box then, we didn't have telephones. A telephone box in the middle of the paddock.
Yeah.
And there was a knock on my motorhome door in the morning, it was John and Tim. We got the motor sorted out. Please don't go home. We'd like you to at least try it and see how you go. And if you still feel the same, then fine. And it was light as well, daylight. So.
Yeah.
So I had a run on the Thursday afternoon, got in the car. Now you got to remember the Mulsanne Straight was the Mulsanne Straight.
Yeah,
and you
it's
sat in the tram lines. The
yeah.
N138 is the road number, and you just sat in the tram lines on the right-hand side, and anything quicker went past you on the left. That was an unwritten rule.
Okay.
Right. And John Sheldon had told us all of this. He told us, like, when you get down to Mulsanne Corner, when you go down towards Indianapolis, count the kinks. There's 3 kinks. Flat, lift for the third one. And every time, count them. Every time, irrespective of. Because traffic round you, forget, oh, was that what, you know. But loads of things that drilled into us to keep safe.
Yeah.
And I've gone down the straight. And for the first time, and I've thought, well, have I got there yet? And I've lifted and gone again, and lifted and gone again. Now, this has got a Porsche 962 lump in it, we know. And it was only running low boost. But Jesus Christ. I don't want to speak, but it was crazy. And the trees just... And then other cars... Oh. And then I've kind of gone along. Was this the year? Yeah, it was the year. And Schlescher, the Mercedes were there, and they were running on Michelin's. I think they were on Michelin's. The factory Mercedes. Schumacher? I don't know. Oh.
It would have been like the Sauber Mercedes back then.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm on to about my third lap. I'm just about thinking, I was just finding out where I was going and getting going, you know. And then I'm going, and I'm holding it flat past the cafe, past the marshal's post. I've gone, halfway down the straight. Yeah, and there's a kink, the Mulsanne kink, and that was flat, absolutely flat. But the first time, it's frightening, absolutely frightening.
Yeah,
petrified. I was petrified. But then I was just saying to myself, come on, man up. And then the next thing is, there's an aircraft accident in front of me. There's a fucking airplane come down, I'm sure there is. And coming out of the trees is a racing car, right?
Coming out of the trees?
Coming out of the trees. There's bodywork, bits, God knows what, all sorts, shit, wheels, bouncing, boom. I've obviously lifted off, probably still doing 150 mile an hour. I've run over something, dunk, it's gone, jeez, and that, and rolled it right off. And I've got through just past the kink and sat in the tub of a car is Jean-Louis Schlescher, right? And I've gone, no. Gone back to the pits. Because it's obviously gone red and everything's sorted out. And he's all right, Schlescher's all right. But it was a year that the Mercedes pulled because of the tyres were exploding.
Ah,
right?
Is that what had happened?
Yeah.
Right.
And so, anyway, to cut a long story short, I did the race. Did I enjoy it? I think we finished 14th overall.
You must have done a few stints, though.
Well, yeah.
Between three of you, how many, 6
when
stints
I went
each or
into
something
the
like
dark, I was happy.
Yeah.
But the car wasn't, it was slightly unreliable. We had some issues, but I survived it, right, and did it. Come home. Next year, I'm down at Brands Hatch doing what I was doing with touring cars or whatever. And I planned to go to Le Mans anyway. I thought, I'll just go for the crack with the motor. I'm just going to have a mooch. So off I go. Get there on the Monday, park up. A guy called Dudley Wood as well. I should have mentioned him before. Lovely bloke. First person to import Tony karts into this country. Dudley. Anyway, I'm bored, aren't I? And I'm wrapped off. I'm thinking, well, yeah, fantastic race this is. This Le Mans race, it is fantastic. Having done it the once.
Yeah.
And
So it's now grown on you now, once you've survived it. Yeah.
It's been grown on me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Christ almighty. And I haven't got to drive, nothing. I've just gone down there for a mooch.
Yeah, yeah.
So I go to the scrutiny in Bay to see all the lads, see them all, you know, scrutiny. It's a massive social, lovely, lovely event. And I'm kind of walking around, and there's a tap on my shoulder, another tap on my shoulder. It's David Kennedy.
Is that in relation to Charlie Kennedy?
No.
Right.
Take it back 2 weeks. I'm at Silverstone. Don't know what for. Move me caravan on the BRD site or something. I can hear this whoop, 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 whoop. What the hell's that? And like,
the dog likes that one.
whoop, 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 whoop. And it was, I could see these charged Mazda Group C cars going up and down the runway, because we used to have a proper airfield runway at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Oh no, so we used to fly into it. So,
Yeah.
But they were going up and down. Oh Christ, that's the best sounding race car I've ever heard. And that was that. Off we go to Silverstone, off we go to Le Mans. On the Tuesday, mooch around again, David Kennedy taps on my shoulder. What are you doing? I thought, I've got nothing on, have I, mate? You know, you like it, do you? Yeah, I want to do it. Now, David was, and he did the deal with Mazda to run World Sports Cars Championship and Le Mans with the rotary Mazda. That was David Kennedy's deal.
Yeah.
David Kennedy did all that.
Might have some pictures of this car. So this is like the following year then.
Okay, that's it. That's the
right.
Car. That's the car. There were three cars. Two in charge livery.
Is that the
green and orange?
Okay, let me see if I can find that.
That one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Woo. Stop. That is a 767, but not a B. That's a Mazda 767.
Yeah.
Which was Tarada and somebody else. That was there were the three cars that ran were. There was the Hare, there was the kind of solid, and then there was the Slugger. And that was the Slugger. It's the 767. There was also a 767B, which was in the same colours.
Okay.
And then there's a 7, which was 202. No, 203, that's a quick one. 202 was the Slugger.
Yeah.
With the 3 Japanese drivers in it.
Yeah.
I think, or perhaps 1 Frenchman. And then the white one.
Back to
that one.
Yeah.
That was Pierre Dieudonné, David Kennedy, and me. All right, but it was David Kennedy, Pierre Dieudonné, and a Japanese driver. Really, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So going back to the story on the Tuesday. Tap on the shoulder of David Kennedy. He said, "What are you doing?" And Pierre Dieudonné, if you don't know him, top journalist in Belgium, top driver, raced with him, really, really good endurance driver, superb, really good. Alan Docking was running the cars, not Arika, it was Docko's years. It was also running the Formula 3 team.
Mm-hmm.
And David said, "Come on, you want to come for a ride?" I said, "What do you mean?" Pierre and I want to have a chat with you. What about? Just get in the car, Chris. We'll just go ride into town. So I'm in the town, and David Kennedy I knew of, but didn't know, right? Irishman. Big mates with Martin Brain, Burn Mondello Park, Lola.
Right.
Afterwards, Martin Brain, Lola.
Okay.
Lola. Irish, good friends, lovely friends. top bloke. David Kennedy did the Aurora F1 Championship, which was British Championship. Top driver, David Kennedy, top bloke, and done Le Mans a fair few years, and it was his deal. He did the Mazda. It was his baby. Big operation. This was. What was his name? Katayama? I can't remember. Anyway, the Japanese driver had flown into the UK and had got some poisoning, egg poison or something. Right, so he couldn't do Le Mans.
Right, okay.
So he said, I want you to drive with Pierre and me in the Mazda. And I went, you're having a fucking laugh, aren't you? Because this is a prime factory works drive. This is like Verstappen at Red Bull. This was. Well, I melted, didn't I? I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it told me what the money was. What?
Assuming they're paying you?
Oh, proper.
Yeah, just for clarity.
5 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On the Tuesday. I can't believe it. Now, Tim Harvey is racing something on that weekend as well, but I can't remember what. And all of a sudden, when people found out there was so much jealousy, you would not frigging believe it.
Yeah.
Doco's wife wanted Philip Favre in the car. He was F3 driver, and she walked off to Paris or something. I didn't know. Somebody just phoned and told me this. But there's another story here as well. So, at Le Mans, there used to be the original pits, which is the old pits, yeah? I'm telling you this just to get this guy's name in because he needs it. And the signalling used to be done as you exited. You went down all the way down the long straight, and then you went to the hairpin, which was the 90 right, which was Morzine Corner. And on the right-hand side, there was a pit signalling box area. And you used to get your pit board there, which was all illuminated.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely critical, because we didn't really have radios that worked very well or anything in those days, yeah? So if you missed your fuel window and tried to do a lap and run out of fuel, you were in trouble. So the guys that worked down there, they were on a wind-up telephone communication with the pits, the old pits.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. And you always used to acknowledge them that you'd seen it when you went past them, you know, and all that.
What, flash of lights or
something?
something?
Whatever, there was a kind of... And the guy called Alan Longman was down there, and he'd been around he'd done stuff with... We'd done stuff with Jaguar and a Mazda, and lovely bloke. And he's messaged me, because he's been on Facebook.
He has.
To say about that. And
well,
lovely guy.
Well, a funny thing is, so obviously I worked with you at Silverstone as an instructor. Alan Longland was the workshop manager.
Correct.
And I knew nothing about any motorsport history with Alan at all.
I know.
And he worked for AER when I did the V2V Championship, Speed Series. And I still didn't know anything about his background. He seemed to know quite a few people, so yeah.
So what happened then?
Hello, Alan, and sorry that I didn't know your history.
So then, when I went back to the paddock, and it was the old paddock then, and used to have a bit of a village, and Mazda, all the drivers had a caravan. Remember the caravan you sold to me?
Yeah, oh God.
About the same size as that, all right?
Grand.
Each one had a little caravan. We all had a little Swift caravan, okay? Yeah. Right. So I got back to the paddock in the afternoon after I'd done all the documentation and this, I just couldn't believe this. David Kennedy also owned at that time Grand Prix Raceway.
Right.
Who was Stand 21 dealers.
Okay? Right, yeah.
Fine.
From Dijon.
Tuesday afternoon, I go back to the paddock, to my motorhome. There's a knock on my door, and there's this 50-year-old Japanese lady. Hodgetts-san. Yes. I am your driver's mother. From now on, I look after you. Okay? Anything you want, you tell me, and I will tell you where you need to go and everything else. And lovely, lovely lady. Not a geisha girl, proper, but so polite. And then I walk with them to the Mazda paddock, because they're going to be fitted in the seat and all the rest of it. So. No, this wasn't. No, that hadn't happened then. I went back to the motorhome. No, Wednesday morning this little bit I'm talking about. There's a knock on my motorhome door. Because I've gone back and I can't believe it. I know what I have done. I rung the wife and told her, Belinda, you're not going to believe this. I cannot believe this, And that was it.
You'd just gone along there for a little trip to go and mooch out.
Yeah.
Did you bring your kit with you, just in case?
I always do.
Yeah.
So that was that. Tuesday evening. Wednesday morning, I go into the paddock. And I look around. And there's a village, the Mazda village, and they've got, some... got great big ornament in the east and this, that and the other. I'm introduced to all of the people. I can't remember all the names now. But there's a caravan. And it's got my name on the side of it with the Union Jack. Oh, Hodgetts, this is your caravan. Okay. If you go inside, everything's there ready for you. And I've opened the door and I've gone in this caravan. 2 bloody suits, underwear, boots, helmets. It's all there. In 24 hours, it's done.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So then, lunchtime, so I go back and I ring the wife and I tell her.
Was it Stand 21 stuff? And so they'd got it from Dijon, got it made, and just
Done.
whipped it across?
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Tuesday afternoon must have been done in the evening or overnight. All done. All the business.
Yeah.
So, even painted helmets.
I tell you what, that's not a bad time to go and... I need to go to the loo.
Okay.
I'll leave the cameras running, pop to the loo, come and say hello to my stepmother and mother and father-in-law, and we'll carry on with that. We'll grab another... I want to find out about... a bit about Ratzenberg. I want to play some of this footage, because the footage from it is proper, like the sound of these cars are amazing. So where were we?
I was in the paddock and I got my caravan and I was about to get in the Mazda.
Yeah.
So that was that, and I didn't. The story with that is you were leading on how I got involved with Japan, really.
Yeah.
And really, what happened was I got in the Mazda. It was an absolute. I'm not. We'll be here forever if we talk about it, but I mean, it's the best racing car I've ever driven.
Right. Should we play a bit of footage of it? Is it
designed by Nigel Stroud? The guy, the whole operation was wonderful. Absolutely loved every minute of it.
There is some just the sound of the thing. So it's a rotary engine, right?
It's 4-rotor. Yeah.
Is it this one? I can't remember. There's one it's actually a modern bit of footage, and it's the car coming
Johnny
past.
Herbert drove it
that one.
quite recently at Le Mans.
There it is. Here we go. So.
Quite
proper sounding racing car.
Well, in the race, that car, when we were coming down the Mulsanne...
Was this 89?
89.
Yeah.
When you lifted off, you went through the kink. It was all flat, say it was 52 seconds for 3 3/4 miles down the Mulsanne.
So what sort of speed would that have been?
It was doing just about 236, something like that.
Oh, my God.
But you were sat with that. Within an eighth of a mile, you've reached that. And you just sat there waiting for something to happen. But when you lifted off at the end of the straight in the dark, the flames, it just lit up all the trees. It was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
Wow.
Brilliant. Just incredible.
236
There's
miles an hour.
lots of stories with that car. Well,
I'll play through while you're talking. I'll play this and I'll turn it down a little bit so you kind of.
Yeah,
this is
the
start of the race,
Tiger the year before was pulling 229.
Was it really?
Yeah. It's fairly frantic, isn't it? And it's very, very fast.
Yeah.
It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. So none of the
this
carbon
year,
tubs
this year in 1989 as well, during practice, all the Porsche 962s, they got a new fuel rail system on it, whereby they could change the gearboxes quickly with split fuel rails. That's the fastest car ever at Le Mans down the straight. That thing. That one we've just seen. And there were various fires. There were quite a few fires around. Will I had one in practice going down towards Indianapolis. Oh, there were a few. Jonathan Palmer had one as well, going down the straight. Pulled him out of the car halfway down the Mulsanne.
Right. So this is the Mulsanne as it is just
this is
dead
real.
straight.
That's proper. That's how it used. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess
when they put the chicanes in, you see, which was 1990, the first year. That was the year I did it with the Spice, with the DFR in the back of it, the Formula One engine.
Yeah.
Did it with Tim Harvey and Fermin Velez. Tim and I looked after the car, but unfortunately Velez was too hard on it with the gearboxes coming out of the chicanes on the ripples, and it did gearbox twice, 2 rebuilds, but it was phenomenally quick. The Spice was through the Porsche curves, but down the straight it was a bit of a brick. But it was a damn good car. Yeah.
Wow. So how did the
Japan.
Japanese thing
So that was a Japanese
then?
connection, right? So David Kennedy, in effect, wanted me in the car as a replacement for the non-attendee Japanese driver. Now, why did he do that? I don't know. I think he saw in me a solid pair of hands. There we go. That's Sheldon.
Okay.
That's Driller. That's the 1988. That is.
Right.
That's Driller in the middle.
Yeah.
So what happened then after Le Mans? After we'd done it, finished 7th overall, won the class on the podium. Good mates there. What happened then was, because David had got a dual program going on in Japan with the Japanese Touring Car Championship, and he was doing World Sports Cars with Mazda, Japanese Touring Car Championship with whoever. And he couldn't make it for some of the rounds. So David would then say to me, okay, RG, here's the deal. You're on the JAL flight so-and-so, you're stopping at, what was the name of the hotel? Hotel where we all stopped at. President Hotel in the middle of Tokyo. These guys that you're looking at, Will Hoy, Roland Ratzenberger, Jeff Krosnoff, all stopped at the same. We all stopped at the same hotel. In the foyer, there was a push bike, which was owned by a guy called Aya Elg, who raced Porsches in Japan. And we all used to use that push bike. And to this day, that push bike is still sat in the foyer for any racing driver to use it as and when they wish to do so.
No way.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we all became mates, as you can see.
Yeah. Did you race to go for a number of races, or did you stay over there for a period of time, or what was the deal?
I, once again, a bit of a bolt-in for David Kennedy.
Right.
I did a few. And the deal was, okay, here you go, right. And it wasn't normally fly out business class. It'd be a half-decent salary, and there's a bit of a cartel. I'll tell you about that as well. Right. Fluxy will say the same, because he'll tell you when you see him. And go there, do a good job, don't nick the sponsor, get it on the podium.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what David Kennedy would say to me.
So you were kicking around with Ratzenberger and those boys.
Roland, yeah, great, because
I remember saying it was like his anniversary of his death, and I'd said something like, "Do you remember the Roland Rat?" Because that's what I remember watching. Whatever it is, Roland Rat versus Roland Ratzenberger.
No, he was great. No, I was with him. I was with him there then. he was racing, obviously, he had a nice driving touring cars, as did Will. Well, we all did in Krosnoff. Krosnoff was in a RS500, the Dunlop car. Will was in an M3, so in the 2.5 litre class. Roland was in 2.5 litre class, and I was in the big class racing against Krosnoff. X-Race Sierra I was in, typical Japanese, buy a car from England, a race Sierra, copy it, make it better, and that's what it was.
Right.
And then I did another race over there on Yokohama tyres in another car, the City Life 43 car that you saw there. Gravit won the British Touring Car Championship, the RS500s, Exodus Johnson cars with Yokohama tyres, which were unbeatable. It was the only car, and him and Mike Smith on Yokohamas. And I went to Japan, drove a car on Yokos out there, and I could not believe what I'd been up against, basically. So they were incredible. I loved my time in Japan, absolutely loved it. Yeah. But we were all, in Japan, you got F3, proper F3 as was, touring car, Group C, and F3000, which is Formula Nippon, if you like.
Yeah.
And we were all on the same money, right? Apart from Eddie Irvine, who made a fortune, but but we were all. Anders Olofsson, lovely bloke, passed away now. Great driver.
Are all these guys? Are these guys? None of them around anymore, apart from you, are
There's
they?
only me left out of these. Unfortunately, they've all passed away. But Roland, at that time when I was with him there, his aims were obviously Formula One, and he was desperate to, And then when it all came about, we were all over the moon for him, and of course we lost him. So it was
and a very fast peddler.
Proper. Roland's proper. I was top of the, and Jeff on the right hand side. I mean, great. But he got killed IndyCaring.
Right.
Yeah. And obviously we all passed away through health. So yeah, but we were all. It was a camaraderie out in Japan because those times you'd land at the airport, land at Narita, and there was no Europeans. So it was all hieroglyphics. You never knew where you were going and what you were doing.
Yeah.
We all helped each other.
Yeah.
And you'd sit round a table for dinner and probably be 10 different nationalities.
Yeah.
And nobody stabbed the other one in the back.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how it all finished, which if you want me to, I can.
Right.
Which is quite frustrating and annoying for some of us. Foxy will tell you the same again. But yeah, we all, and because it was a crossover, because F3 wouldn't run the same weekend as touring cars, so, and of course you got the time delay, so some of us would be flying from the UK in, some of us would be flying the other way back, but there would be 1 or 2 days when we were all together at the President's Hotel, and we'd all pop out for a bite to eat all together.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And it all finished, I'm afraid, when a guy called Andrew Gilbert Scott went to Japan and drove a F3000 car for nothing, for no salary.
Yeah.
And he completely screwed the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
He manager for Saito afterwards. I don't mind naming names because, that's what he did. I mean, he screwed it for a lot of people, for the Europeans. It's okay. It's not what it was, but there were wonderful times, absolutely wonderful times, respectful times.
Yeah.
So that was the connection.
And that's kind of, And then after that, I mean, I'm mindful of time here because
okay, go on.
We've got about another 18 minutes. And the reason why I'm going to say this is because you've got to scoot back off at some point to go and meet what you're doing now. So
what we're doing now. How the hell is that
we won't go to that first. We'll just very quickly step over, because what I think we'll probably do at some point later, Dan, we'll get Steph down here and get him talking about what he did and how he started.
There were 2 key important people in my life. One was Tim Whitehouse.
Yeah.
The other one is a gentleman called John Kirkpatrick.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know John?
I don't know John. I know very
Jim
much
Russell
of
Racing
John,
Driver
of course.
School. I won the British Touring Car Championship, British Touring Car Championship in '86, at the racing car show, not a tap on my shoulder, John Kirkpatrick. Chris, I want to front the racing school for me with Anthony Reid. Anthony will be looking after single-seaters. I want you to look after saloons, but there will be a crossover. And that's how my coaching career started with John Kirkpatrick. And I ran the Jim Russell Racing Driver School at Donington Park for 10 years in parallel to my own career with what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
Included
I'm hoping to get Reedy in here, actually.
The instructors were myself, Anthony Reid, Tommy Erdos, who I brought on, right?
Yeah.
Warren Hughes, Kelvin Burt, Julian Westwood, all proper lads. And we're all friends now. Should be a reunion, actually. This year.
Yeah.
But John Kirkpatrick, he was so supportive. He got me the drives with the Cavalier, with Vauxhall.
I'll just skip back to that very quickly, because back to the Cavalier days, we've got it here.
There we go.
Right,
there she is. Car owned by Jim Pocklington now.
Yeah.
Fabulous car.
Yeah.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah.
So that was all part of. I think I had about 4 or 5 races for Vauxhall alongside Cleland.
Right.
I did all of the development on that car because originally it was homologated for front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive.
Right.
And I did all the testing in
Right.
the background, with Dave Cook, who built the cars. And so we ended up running it as a front-wheel drive car because we weren't quick enough with the transmission losses. But Marcus, 1995, 1996. Did Le Mans with that as well. Won the British GT Championship with that.
Okay. I didn't realise you were British GT
Well,
champion.
you know Jiggy.
No.
James Gornall.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jiggy, he does all the stuff for JP, for GB4 stuff and that. And he'd come up to me, he said, do you know something? What you've done? I said, what do you mean, Jig? He said, you're the only one that's won the British Touring Car Championship and British GT Championship. I said, you're having a laugh, aren't you? I said, no. I said, honestly, you are?
Yeah.
I said, no, you're having
Is that right?
But evidently I am. I didn't know that. Jiggy told me. Yeah.
So that was 95 Marcos.
Yeah.
And you were
TVR Tuscan Champion.
Champion
go
as
back,
well.
1990.
Right.
Crikey.
Sorry, you can see I've got it out of context.
No, it doesn't
slightly.
matter.
Right,
But
right.
that is later. That's slightly
That's
later.
94, that one, from what the picture I picked off the net.
Yeah.
Right. So you were TVR Tuscan.
That was, but the one I won in 1990 was a Golf liveried car, car number 15, owned by the Sports Car Centre, a guy called Charlie Millington. Won the Birmingham, quick story with that. Won the Birmingham street race with it. Yeah.
No, right, okay. You might not appreciate me. You probably know what's coming up.
I know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah. It's where is it? It's somewhere here, not that one.
No, mate.
It's
Here we go.
entertaining
Here we
to
go.
see
Murray Walker's a commentator.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say.
Tuscan challengers from TVR.
Go on.
Chris Hodgetts in number 15.
Wave to the crowd, look. Wave to the
Birmingham Super Prix.
crowd. Birmingham Super Prix. Now
Yeah.
we're going to go round and roundabout, and unfortunately,
It's a good
as
drift.
we launch it in, down change there, bit of space, in we go, throw it in, big sideways, and we get on the marbles, but we're behind the trees, so nobody can see. There you go. Oh. Look, see, told you. On the right-hand side, there is a grandstand. Sat in that grandstand are the car owner, Charlie Millington, together with his 2 daughters, and a young lad called Stephen Hodgetts, all right, who doesn't know where to put himself with the family of the people who are paying Dad's wages. I don't know where to put myself either when I get back to the paddock, only to be admonished by Mr. Charlie Millington, who comes up to me.
That's a good drift, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, it's okay till I got the marbles, right? Till he comes up to me and says,
Brilliant.
Hodgetts, hold your hand out. And I think, what's coming next? And he put a wad of notes into my hand. 500 quid into my hand. I said, what's that for? Mate, we've had fantastic TV exposure from what you've just done. Right?
Amazing.
Yeah, but Well, what happens then is, an hour later, I'm in front of the beak. Because it's an FIA meeting.
Right.
And there's a gentleman called Jean-Marie Belest,
Oh.
who was the FIA steward on the day.
Right.
And up there, not only me, but alongside was a guy called Kurt Luvey, who was driving the Pro Drive M3, right? Who'd been doing donuts after he finished, right? In the touring car race. Yeah, okay. And also, another bloke called Jean Alazy, who'd been lighting up the rear tyres in the F3000 car. We all got fined €500.
Oh, did you?
So my 500 quid went straight out. My bonus went straight away. That's Stefan Hodgetts in preparation for a qualifying lap at Buckmore Park when he won the British Championship.
So what year would this have been then?
97.
97. So I remember, this is the funny thing, and as you get older, I remember, and I mainly see Steph as cadet karter, I haven't dragged up any pictures of Steph as a cadet karter, but that's because I was karting 91 to 95, and so Steph was in cadets back then, and so I see him the same as I see Lewis Hamilton. To me, in my eyes, whenever I see Steph, he's still cadet karter.
Yeah.
And yet, now
he was brilliant. We did. John Button looked after him when he won all the cadet stuff, and then that's the first year in Jicker. And that's
Shennington.
Yeah, but that was the first year, and the second year he won the championship. And the kart was run by Gold Kart. We were on Gold Kart chassis, not that one, that's CRG.
Yeah.
But we were on Gold Kart. Paul Ozam spanned it for us, and Don Parker did the engines.
Right.
If you go back, see that one. See that little engine, RMS.
That's a cadet then.
Okay.
Rocket Motorsport.
That is a kart I found after 18 years, which is actually Martin Plowman's kart, who used to run Birmingham Wheels and now does the British DG Championship with his own team, Martin Plowman.
Yeah.
That is his kart, which I restored back to fresh. But I've been looking for what's on the side of it for 18 years. And that particular engine and its sister engine are a Coma S60. One is engine number R4, the other one is engine number R5, and they're at my house now. Those two engines won the British Cadet Championship with a guy called Dan Weldon, Jensen Button, Nicky Richardson, and Stefan.
No way,
I found the two engines.
Were they rocket tuned?
I've got the actual engine.
Were they rocket tuned back in?
No, they were the two engines that won all of those championships.
This is like the karting equivalent of Patch. I remember hearing about this legendary engine. Yeah. No way.
Yeah. So that's the story.
But that's got RMS.
Yeah, Rocket Motorsport.
Yeah. So did John end up tuning that?
He did all of them.
Right.
With parallel barrels. Oh yeah.
Right. Because I remember that. I mean, I suppose it's kind of when I first got into it, and I remember the advert. You might remember this advert in Karting magazine. It was zippity doo dah, zippity day, my oh my, what a rocket display. Remember that? The advert. Yeah. And proper tuner though, John. I'm guessing. I'm
absolutely
saying from the results.
And then Richard Williams, who's one of Jensen's best mates with a couple of lads that were all lads with John when Jens got to F1, they all went round together. Richard used to span the kart with John for me, and that was it. Yeah, it's good times. That kart is now restored and is actually in my little unit hanging up.
Now, talk about your connection, and again, I'm being mindful of Tom. We may have to do a second version of this, so a second version, but. Just fast. I'll come back to those clips in a second, and I'll zip through like this. You can see your life flashing before you.
Jesus Christ!
Literally, like you can see what I've got here. Tell us a little bit about your connection to karting. So
I started racing karts I did the first ever race at Chasewater, April 1961. When I was 11, I raced karts up till I was 27. That particular kart there is I have in my possession now, which I found at the Shenington Revival. It's all totally restored exactly as it should be. And it's absolute, and that was the last kart I had before my father passed away.
Oh,
So there's a lot of sentimental
That's
value.
the number 23 there. I wonder I wonder if there's any other shots of it. Sorry, I'm zipping past this.
That was that's a motor. So I didn't write that.
Is that Dud Mosley?
Yeah,
designed
that
Stuart Mosley's dad.
Stuart Mosley's dad designed and built those.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
That's Senna's kart.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Mm.
So from the 70s.
That is an early Italo kart with a couple of comets on. Yeah.
Wow.
It's historic stuff. It's all historic displays.
Yeah. So you've got some involvement with the historic.
I'm the patron of the British Historic Kart Club, and I used to be before I went motor racing. I was heavily involved with Shenington Kart Club. I was the chairman of Shenington Kart Club and sat on the committee and ran the kart club for 3 years.
Right. Yeah,
That is a restored kart, which is Stefan's
Is that Steph
copy.
in
That's
that?
Stefan.
I was going to say, I see the glasses
As
there,
as he finished, that's a kart that's been restored by a lovely man called Mike Top, who's a good friend of mine and very heavily involved with Historic Kart Club with Steve Cowell.
So is that like a Formula A spec, is it, that one?
That's Chica.
Chica, right,
That's
okay.
Chica again.
Right. So, I've literally your life has flashed before you. Let's just rattle through these as quick as we can. And it sounds silly, but I'm just conscious that I want to make sure that you get to your appointment to see your up and coming. Right. Let's just look at Steph. So Steph did karting, did Vauxhall Junior, Formula Ford.
Vauxhall Junior, Formula Ford, Formula Renault, F3 selected events.
Yeah.
Touring cars, selected touring cars.
Yeah. But now works with you.
Flat 8,
for
working
Elite,
with me,
primarily.
alongside me, with Elite, yeah.
And here's some of your young protégés then.
Yeah. That's a guy called Tom Ingram there, look.
Yeah. I've heard of him somewhere. This is you. Looks like you're at the Isle of Man.
We are at the Isle of Man.
Do you know where this is from? This is a photo shoot for the Toyota when you did that GT86 race at Silverstone 24, and you raced with Neil Primrose, didn't
Correct.
you? From what I
the
remember.
Drummer. Yeah.
Well, here's a funny thing, right? So you haven't seen this podcast yet. So the intro, when you watch this, and I'll send you a link to it when it's done. The intro, the drumming track, is done by Neil.
Okay.
Because I kind of got to know him, like
fell
walking.
Lovely man.
And,
Lovely man.
Lovely fella.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when you hear it, you're like, that's
Gotcha.
Neil. Yeah.
Brilliant.
But yeah. No, it's great that you guys work together now, and he's learnt his trade from you. And is that Isle of Man, is it?
Yeah, it's the Isle of Man. That's crikey, it's just coming up out of Ramsey, up the hill.
Is that when it starts to go to the one-way system there?
Yeah, that's on the one-way system. Yeah.
I only did Mad Sunday once in 2000, but I do remember it was like, hairpin, right, now we can go.
Yeah.
Amazing. Sitting there having a cuppa. This is just, if there's anything that says Chris and Steph Hodgetts, it's this photo.
Yeah, it's quite amusing, really, isn't it?
So what? And your motorbikes, mate. Your time machine.
Yeah. That's the one that does all the miles.
You still got that?
Yeah, crikey, yeah.
Yeah. Do you still go to circuit on it? I suppose.
Yeah. I haven't used it. The weather's been shit up to now. Klaus Klaffenbach, you know him?
No, is he a biker or something?
World Sidecar Champion.
Okay.
Absolutely top bloke. Does all of the catering and hospitality now. Does it for Paul Bird Motorsport, for the bikes, for British Superbikes.
Yeah, okay.
But he's got his own Porsches. He runs Porsches in Germany and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful man. Top engineer. Excellent.
Well, you love your bikes, and this is what we generally have a conversation about bikes. When I've seen you, it's either music or bikes. Yeah. Talking about music, there was another poster on there, which I can't. Well, I could show on the internet. Actually, I might.
There's the wife, Natalie and Alisha.
Yeah. So this is one.
There's the wife. Okay. Without her, I won't be alive, mate. She's proper. That is. In the middle of a shift at the hospital during COVID.
Yeah.
She did it all the way through. She had COVID herself. I nearly lost her. All right, pulled her out of that. 3.5 weeks. I said, there she is. With one of my customers, is a lad called James Empson. Tom Empson is the son, who's the driver. He's
Right.
racing now. He's in our Ferrari this year.
Okay.
But that is Clive Empson's Bentley that we met up at Betchcoid in North Wales.
Yeah.
And he took the wife's yellow MR2 and he let me take the Bentley. And we arrived, shock horror, next morning at Anglesey Circuit, and you're going to love this, to do a track day. And who was the track day with? Who says okay? How many times? You and I used to count and have a discussion.
Okay,
how
Colin.
many times? Okay. Oh, Colin.
Sorry, Colin, if you're watching
Sorry,
this.
Colin, if you're watching it, but that's the fact. And then I rolled up in the pit lane with that.
You're just getting
with
me
that.
into trouble.
Rolled up
And
in
I'm
the
not
pit
gonna
lane
cut
with
this.
the Bentley, and he's, what did you do? We're doing a track day.
In that, and you rock up in that.
We did the
Oh
track
my
day
God.
at that, at Anglesey, the javelin track.
Just a general track day. and
Just
everyone's
general
like,
track day.
what on earth is that?
Yeah, because it was just booked on as Clive Empson Bentley.
That's hilarious. And you
So-
turn up in that. No seatbelts.
Brilliant,
Let's
absolutely
crack on.
wonderful. Yeah, but for
Amazing.
him to entrust me with it,
Yeah.
it was wonderful. And what a charismatic family the Emersons are, wonderful. But to just let me use that and take it up there, it was stunning, absolutely
Yeah.
stunning. Yeah, and that's just outside Lake Ogwyn, going through North Wales just before Capel Curry.
Lovely.
Yeah,
And Steph.
right. The young one on the right hand side, that's my daughter, my first daughter.
Yeah.
She was born when I was 17. Her mother left daughter with me after 6 weeks, so I brought up Tracy on my own when I was 17 and a half, changing nappies. That's
No
Tracy.
way.
She lives in Australia.
Which is the one? I've got a video here that George Russell giving a shout out to someone.
Absolutely, yeah. He's giving a happy birthday to Alisha Palmowski, that's what he's doing.
I see. Hodgie on the train. Oh, was this the
That's
steam
the
train
honor-
one?
Yeah, steam train. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Brilliant. And
That's
you
Grinch.
woofers.
That's Grinch, one of the dogs, Grinchy.
And
Oh,
this is
gracious.
your clam.
man.
Well, you sent me all that. So I was
Well,
like, yes, I've
Jonathan,
got to get these
Jonathan
ones in there.
is Stefan's brother, my second son, and that's with the family.
Oh, I think I might have met him once when I came
The,
to see
the young lady on the right hand side in the blue top is Jacqueline, who is my second daughter. She has a campsite near Stratford-on-Avon, in Evesham, so that's what she does. Yeah. Dogs, lots of dogs.
Lots of dogs.
lots
Yeah.
of dogs.
I always see
I've
Hodgie and
only
his
got
dogs.
3 now. Okay, this young lady is the latest one who I'm out with tomorrow as well, Croft. This is Katrina E. Strange surname, it's just an E, but Katrina. She's from Hong Kong, and she's been sent over to us because she's going to do the Genetic Junior Championship. No real experience. Had a couple of days at Califat about a month ago. We've done Navara with her, and now we've just got a licence, so she's starting to do
Genetic
UK.
Junior. Do you know what? I'm going to see if I can go through to the Genetic Juniors stuff because
Okay.
well, we'll come back to Harry King in a second, right? But
Okay, Genetic Juniors, there we go.
yeah,
Yeah, wonderful, absolutely wonderful championship. It's a success story of UK motorsport, I believe.
you know they're built 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Garforth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never actually been to.
Yeah, well, Lawrence, I mean, what Lawrence has done for this is fantastic, and the people that have come through it is just brilliant. We go to Califat because the weather's good, we get long hours where we can run from 9 till 6, relatively it is super cost effective for track time, that's for sure. And what we do is we take them all out there. And once again, this is going back to the Jim Russell days, my early days with John Kirkpatrick. Once again, going how influential in my career he's been. Where we structure it whereby we do 2 or 3 days, get it all up and running with the lads going well, or lasses. And then we will run, in effect, an imitation race meeting.
Yeah.
With the same tyres, with the same time constraints, with free practice, then moving on to time qualifying, 3-lap time qualifying, moving on to an actual race, and we will race the cars. We'll literally race the cars.
I've got.
Oh,
yeah. So
that was Zanti. You just saw Zanti if you go back one. Okay, that's Zanti the shark at Calafat. Okay. Got some dry ice. It was very, very hot, so we got some dry ice in there. And that's Zanti having a swim. So when they get out the race cars, we put him in with Zanti to cool them off.
Amazing. Of course you do.
Like you do.
So this is a test day.
Yes, this is a test day. This is us testing.
Standard Ginetta Junior test day.
This is us.
Jesus Christ! I did one test with a Ginetta. Well, I mean, I've sat in the passenger seat of Ginetta Juniors once. I did one test day at Silverstone National. I was with Rob Boston when they were trying to get the car up to speed. So they go out, Dunny, see if you can keep up with these young kids. So I'm like hanging on for my life on the back of them. They're all going around in packs, aren't they? Yeah. Just like velociraptors. You know? So I'm like hanging onto the back from dear life. I managed to just scrape into the top 10, but I'm just like, holy crap, these kids are quick.
Oh, they're good. They are quite stunning, to be fair. And I mean, I started with all of this. There's a guy called Jonathan Lewis, who is a brother from another mother, who used to run the factory Van Diemen team, known him for years. Had a phone call from Jonathan, 2012, saying I got a young lad on the. He had Snetterton Speed Shop at Snetterton, but there was some units there as well. And he's got a young lad called Eddie Ives. I've got here. He's rebuilt a Ginetta Junior, and he needs some help, Chris. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, he'd like to have a chat. So it was December the 18th, 2012, this was, I think. I said, well, I'll be on the Ginetta stand at the NEC, because when the show was strong.
Yeah.
And he said, well, he's got a stand there. So anyway, I walked across to the stand, cut a long story short, met Eddie. I said, lifted the bonnet. He'd done a lovely job on it. Had a look at the chassis number, chassis 16 it was. I knew the car straight away because it was Jodie Fanning's car that I'd coached Jodie Fanning in back in 2010. So the car had gone back to the factory. Eddie had bought it from the factory, rebuilt it, and that's the start. So I took Jerry Nicosia to him, who was the first driver for Elite Motorsport. He won the Fiesta Junior Championship, I coached him, Jerry, and that's how we started the year. And then that was basically just four of us, a 7.5 ton truck, one racing car, and then I got Harry King involved after the scholarship towards the end, and the whole thing just
back to have a look
just exploded then to what it is now. And Eddie is a lovely lad. I'm old enough to be his granddad, but we get on really, really well. I've taken a lot of drivers to him, and we've been pretty damn successful, I think.
Yeah.
We've done well.
Yeah.
But because we love it, we've got good guys around.
Yeah.
Some of the staff there as well I've known and taken or suggested that they, become involved. So it's a family, big time.
Give us a list of who you've worked with. I mean, so we've got Harry King, who is now a Porsche. What?
Well, not now, but he's been there and done all of that. And
Okay.
He's doing LMP2 now, LMP stuff, World Endurance Championship.
Okay.
There's Harry flying it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's quite a few. There's Enzo Fittipaldi, there's Isaac Hadjar, there's a stack of them that have come through Elite Motorsport with me, to be honest.
But also in juniors, you work with Lando Norris.
Didn't work with Lando. No,
Right.
he was with Charlie. He was with HHC Motorsport.
That's right. Yeah.
He was with HHC. So but we beat him.
Right.
He finished second. We won. So that was Lando.
Right.
That's my standard phrase. Get the nose in, lad. That cushion is actually my motorhome now and shown to everybody.
Brilliant.
So there's Jodie Fanning. He's another on tour. He's now with us. He engineers the McLaren.
Who's that? Is that the lad that's...
That's Jodie.
Right.
That was the 2010 driver. That was his car that he drove in 2010, Ginetta Junior.
Right, okay.
There's a bunch of us. There we go. Harry, Jodie. Who's that? Oh, that's a Welshman on the right.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that. It's strange. Seb Hopkins there on the left-hand side. Oh, go on. Who's that one there?
Yeah, I
That's the bloke
recognise
called
that fella.
George Russell, that is.
Hey Alisha, it's George Russell. Just want to wish you a happy 18th birthday. Hope you have a great day.
He's managed by Infinity, who are Gary Cass
Gary Katz thing,
and
yeah.
Harry Soden.
Right.
Harry Soden, father, John Soden, was a solicitor. He did all my motor racing contracts.
Right.
And does all of John Button's contract. Did all of Jensen's contracts.
Right.
And I had to I didn't have to, but I suggested to them that we had what I consider will be the first female full-on Formula One driver.
Well,
and Harry listened to me because I wouldn't have gone there if I didn't mean it, and he knows that. And so Harry is now managing Alisha Palmowski, and that's why there's connection with George as well. There you go.
Talk about Alisha. So
Okay.
you've put it a few times on Facebook. Obviously, I kind of sort of seen a little bit about her, and I messaged you. I said, "Is she quick?" So that's, it's like
simple, really. She did the Ginetta Scholarship. She won it. Okay, 60 kids, 59 lads, 1 girl. And she won it purely on merit and on speed, on pace. She won it. She went to a team, not to us, we went to a team, and didn't have the best of years. But whilst I was watching her out on the outside of Knockhill, going into Clark, let's say, and through the chicane, there was the mightiest moments being had, but it didn't go off. And the talent you could see was there. And I said to Eddie at the end of the year, mate, we've got to have Alisha on board. Now, there's been another lad from a very, very strong motor racing family, Freddie Slater, who did Jeanette Juniors and walked it. Okay, he did. He absolutely walked it. But the only one that could take it to him and past him was Alisha Palmowski. And we got towards the end of the year and thought, what the hell are we going to do with Alisha? Because no, she didn't win. She was front running all the time, but it wasn't that. It was the family have little or no money to speak of. They're wonderful, wonderful people, down to earth, and the girl herself, her character, charismatic, wonderful, fantastic with people. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, but with immense, and I mean immense talent, right? And I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. She's in one of my karts at the Super Prix.
At Shenny.
Shennington, yeah. So she then did the GB4 Championship. She was runner-up in the GB4 Championship this year, 2024. Missed it mainly through...
First year doing it?
Yeah, first year in the single-seater, but right at the front. To the point where we got with the Formula One Academy. Keep on, poor, don't. Not yet. Here she is. I told you she's down to earth nutter. Absolutely super. So funny. What a character. What a character. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So the F1 Academy thing came up, and we got halfway through 2024. And what Alisha did on one of her races there, she was with Jonathan Palmer at Donington, she was hit on the start line by another car. And the car was in a mess. So we thought, okay, into the pits and retire it. All right. No. She drove the wheels off it, and it can be seen on GB4. If you go onto GB4, onto the website on YouTube, and you can watch it. 17 cars in a race, she finished 9th with a car that was sideways at 45 degrees down the Craner curves. It was completely it was wrecked, the back of the car, but she kept going and finished. Had that not happened, I think she'd won the championship. But anyway, she had a reward off Palmer for the best female, which was good, and second overall as well, to the point where I got massive faith. I've coached her through all the way through and looked after her and had the faith in her. Equal of Harry King, 100%. Equal of Stefan, 100%. Anybody I've been with, she is the business.
Quick.
Went to Calafat with all of our lot, Ginetta Juniors, when we did Ginetta Juniors. Rinsed them. So, she's special.
Yeah.
Then, British Grand Prix, 4 F1 teams knocking on my door at the motorhome in the BRDC wanting Alisha Palmowski to be their F1 Academy driver for 2025. And that all got rinsed about and did everything as well. Alan McNish wanted her at Audi, which was lovely. Alan I've known for years because he asked me in 1988 what do I do. I said, well, you go and get a factory Audi drive. That's what you do. And that's what he did, and his career took off from that point. So Alan and I go back a long way. But anyway, we've ended up with her signing for Red Bull Racing. There she is. She's with Red Bull for this year. And we will see what happens. I mean, it's
Did she jump in the car and went quick straight away?
Oh, instant. Absolutely instant. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I did with her, after we'd finished the Ginetta Juniors Championship, we didn't really know what to do. And Trevor Carlin was still Carlin at that time. And we thought, well, shall we give her a run in a GB4? And I'd mentioned it to Trev just in the paddock. And I told Trev, look, she's the business. Yeah. So, okay. And then also on the Tuesday, we took her to, there was a test on Thruxton on the Thursday, which Trevor got an exclusive, unbeknown to us. But on the Tuesday, I took her to the Porsche tryout day at Silverstone. Never sat in a Porsche before. All you done, Ginetta Junior. Put her in a Carrera Cup car. It was wet. 6 laps, she's on James Kellett's backside, chasing him round, and they're all looking at me, red line lot, and everybody going, what the hell's this about? Because I wanted to do the Porsche scholarship. Anyway, they didn't select her for the Porsche scholarship. Made a mistake there, Mr. McNaughton, but never mind. And they know it. And then Trevor and her with Freddie Slater down at Thruxton. She's never driven an F4 before. Boom. Instant, straight there, immediately. And from that point onwards, that's when Eddie offered, bless Eddie's soul, Eddie Ives, we had very little money for her, and he ran her in GB4, and we've been super successful. And so it's taken off, so I'm just left now with, I'm not on Instagram, but if you are, you have a look, and that'll tell you the story, because I'm not clever enough to do all that. I did the Facebook bit, but I can't do Instagram as well. But it's all on there, and she's just totally grounded, but has immense talent. And she does.
That's
the
what
lovely
we're
thing
crying
about
out for,
Anthony,
isn't it?
She doesn't realise how good she is.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing. I do, and she doesn't. And whenever I say to just drive the car, just be yourself. And what the hell is this? It's wonderful.
Just really good.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm over the moon with it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way to end.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Hodgie.
It's a pleasure.
I know it's a bit
There's
of a.
so much in the people's.
Mate, I mean, like.
Hodgie, you should write a book. I said, mate, it's 25 grand to write a book. Where do you get that from?
No, just type. You can publish a book on Amazon, and you can publish individual books. You don't get as much profit from it, but you can publish individual.
I'm not clever enough to do that.
You can type though, mate. But no, that's mega. I mean, like, this thing is a kind of it's an unknown thing for me, and I had you on my list. I had a list of 100 people, and you were in the top 10 of like people like, right, who do I want? Chris and Steph Hodges definitely over. So next time we'll bring Steph down and we'll have a chat. I'd love to talk. I need to get sounds comedies. I need to get some birds on here. It'd be
I'm sure Alisha would do it. She's the time frame for it. It's crazy. I mean, what she's got on to do with the Red Bull lot. I mean, I will have her doing F1 demos this year initially to start with. She don't know it yet, but she'll be an F1.
She does now. She's watched his podcast. Right, top job. I'm going to let you get off so you can go and meet your parents tomorrow. Thanks, Hodgie. It's really appreciated.
Oh look.
She's going to want a walk. Top man. Cheers, Hodgie.
All right, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Steady away, isn't it? Well, we got to nail him, haven't we?
Got to nail him in a minute.
Yeah.
Nail this.
Let's give him a bit of argy-bargy. Where's he having him into Joey's?
Well, we could have him into Jerry's, couldn't we? Let's...
On the exit. Get the run, get the run.
Got the run here.
We got the run.
Here we go!
Knock it down one. Finish.
Hey!
Hey!
Gonna fill the other way first. Done the copper, mate.
Turn it round. Yeah!
Yeah.